I need a clarification from FIG, and this is what we're going to get. At some point, they're going to have to. FIG will have
Yeah.
to come out with a statement. We will have to know because that wasn't corrected for
Right.
some reason. For some reason, that out of bounds deduction stayed.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to season 2 of Flipping Out with Bridget Sloan, the Olympic special. I am your host, Bridget Sloan, and I have been joined each week by the one, the only, Miss Kathy Johnson Clark. In each episode, we do a deep dive into elite gymnastics, covering all competitions leading up to and during the Summer Olympic Games. And the time is here, the finale. Well, Kathy and I do a very deep dive into the all-around final for men's and women's and the individual event finals, the drama that happened, and the success that we saw. So let's get into it. Kathy, we are back a little delayed. I know. Blame me. I am the one to blame. I was on vacation, then I was a little under the weather, which is why I sound a little nasally. But as one must, the show must go on. The people want this finale episode, which means we're going to give it to them because I don't even know if saying there's a lot to discuss is actually wrapping enough around just how much has happened since our previous episode. Because not only do we have the all around finals for both men's and women's, we have event finals for women and for men. And there was some drama. There was
Yeah,
some drama.
adventure all the way. And I think the exciting thing for me, so since the gymnastics has ended, the cool
Mhm.
thing, I have been in track and field heaven, like the Olympics. And then I just watched the men's basketball game that just ended. Like it was so fantastic. So recognizing that this little microcosm, this little world that we inhabit in gymnastics
Mhm.
was also happening in the big, grand Olympic, like with
Absolutely.
all the sports, all the stars, all of the, the magic of every sport all coming together and all the best athletes in the world. So it multiplied my excitement watching all the other sports, and especially during the gymnastics when many of those stars actually came to
That was so cool.
the comp. How awesome was that?
I think that just goes to show you how impressive. I mean, every sport at the Olympics is impressive. Every single sport, no matter what. But gymnastics, it has become a fan favorite during the Olympics, and I think that is going to I think that's going to kind of ooze out throughout the entire year leading up to the next quad and the next. So, for me as a viewer, I thought it was incredible. For me as a retired gymnast, it blew my mind that you could also tell that the athletes that were there, let's take Michael Phelps, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a legend. He is a legend. He was so dialed in. Like you could just tell that he wasn't just watching, Lottie. He was dialed in to what was happening. And I think as athletes, you appreciate good athletics,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Like you could tell that the athletes that were watching weren't just there because it looked cool on their Instagram. They were there because they were truly watching the greatest athletes compete.
Yeah, and to be able to see Simone Biles in this era of Simone Biles,
Exactly.
many of them, that's what brought them there.
Mhm.
However, for them to see everybody, to see
Yeah.
gymnastics, not just Simone Biles that caught their attention and brought them into
Right.
the arena to say, I don't want to miss this. I'm here. I'm not going to miss this historic moment with Simone Biles. And to be able to see everybody else and watch them react to
Mhm.
all the gymnastics, not just respect, but awe.
Right.
That's what was so
Yeah.
cool. Because when you see these athletes, like when we watch basketball or other sports that we just can't do,
Yeah.
you're in awe of how they can defy gravity. And I'm watching it in person.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
For
So
sure.
with all of that in mind, and then looking at the the routines, the the gymnastics that these athletes prepared and competed
Mhm.
in this moment, especially all around finals. Let's talk about, you want to talk about men first or women first? Like it's,
Well, I wanna talk about myself first,
oh,
actually.
oh, yes. I noticed
So
something.
Kathy wore a leotard on our last episode. I personally do not own any of my leotards, but I did break out the medal for those watching. Very exciting. I actually feel really I told Kathy this beforehand. I feel really weird wearing it even though it is mine. Um, I wanted Kathy to wear hers, but apparently she has graduated her medals to hanging on the wall, which hopefully we can graduate to that because
Yeah,
mine is in my sock drawer. So,
yeah. So mine have been in a drawer. They've been in. I had them put in this like what display thing because I did a show
oh,
at SeaWorld,
nice.
and they had this really cool display of a medal there. And Scott
Wait,
Johnson and I know SeaWorld.
pause. Did you just say you had a show at SeaWorld?
At SeaWorld, yes.
Incredible.
So
Incredible.
this was after the Olympic Games, and they invited Scott Johnson
Yum.
and me to come there for a week, and we did exhibitions during their show, because they do shows at SeaWorld.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, we got to see and work with the animals. I
Oh,
learned
that's
how to make
amazing.
the dolphins jump and dive and do
Yeah.
all this cool stuff, and kiss Shamu and rub the tongue, like all of that stuff. But they had this display of the medal, and Scotty and I were standing there looking at it. I was like, how cool is that? Wouldn't it be neat if we could do that? And we're just talking, and all of a sudden this person behind us goes, well, you guys just might be in the right place at the right time. Jostens had made the medal. This guy was here from Jostens,
Oh,
standing
that's
behind us, listening to us. And he says, if you send us the medal, we will put it in the display and send it back to you. So I sent both my medals in. They took it off the ribbon, gave me the ribbon back, but had a little piece of the ribbon because
oh,
they made
that's so
these,
cool. Yeah.
put it on that. But then when I got it, I didn't want to put it on display. It just felt weird to me in my own house. Like, where do you put these? So I kept putting them down on the bottom shelf of this entry hall thing. And Brian kept, I'd walk back in the living room and he'd have them up on top. And I kept putting them
Oh,
back.
you gotta have that
And
baby
then
up on top.
he goes, I'm proud of it. I go, but it's just weird to me to like put your
Oh,
medal.
yeah. I feel that.
And then I put them away because then I decided, I really want to be able to hold my medal sometimes. Or if I
Mhm.
go someplace, I want to be able to bring my medal to put on a little kid to get them excited, to hold
Exactly.
me.
Sometimes you just wanna wear it around the house, when you're
Yeah,
cleaning and really,
yeah.
really take your cleaning to the next level by wearing your Olympic
So then I
medal.
stuck them in a drawer, and then I brought them back out when we moved to this new place. They're actually now in a frame hanging on the wall.
Wow. I can't wait to graduate to that part. Mine
We're
are
silver
well,
sisters, by the way. We're silver sisters. You know that, right?
Silver Sisters. I almost broke out in song, and I'm not gonna do that. But, Kathy, we have a lot to talk
I know
about.
it. Okay. You took us
So
down that rabbit hole, by
I
the way.
know. I know. That's my fault. I take full responsibility. But I think we should talk about the men's all around first because the women's was magic. This entire Olympic Games, I think you and I can both agree, was just magic. I mean, what we were able to see,
Yeah.
who we were able to see, and what was accomplished is just, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. But let's start with the men's all around finals first.
So, um, first of all, we all know that Paul Judah, I mean,
I'm a fan. I'm a
we're
fan.
all a fan. If he did not have the dream Olympics of all dream Olympics, I don't know who did,
Yeah.
because I would throw him in that basket. And Fred Richard, they were both representing the U.S. in the all around finals. And they had great competitions. They had great competitions. They finished 14th and 15th. Had a couple little things. You were hoping that Paul could find those
I
landings
know.
that he had in team. I mean, almost every time out in qualifying and in team finals, the team finals, if
Mhm.
they could have found those landings again, found a few more tenths of a point, they probably would have been higher. But for them to finish in the top 15 at the Olympic Games, phenomenal, great job. And I know Paul Judah is still walking on air, for God's
Oh,
sake,
yeah.
as he said.
Absolutely.
I mean, he is the one to inspire all those little kids, as he said, like, anytime he takes the time to write an autograph or to say, he's like, "This is who I was. This is
Yeah.
exactly who I was." So dream big, and it just made Fred Richard
Oh, yeah.
hungry, because after winning the a bronze medal at the World Championships, he knows what that feels like. He knows, like, that's where he wants to get back, and he's got the talent, he's got the skills, he's got, and now we have the attention in men's gymnastics.
For
Hopefully we're
sure.
gonna have more resources, more funds, all of that, which will be fantastic. So anyways, of course, we expected China and Japan to battle it out again, and it was not a shock that they did. But the other gymnasts who have the Dream Olympics, Shinosuke Oka, oh my God. What a talent. You remember when we previewed? I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
When we go all the way back, I can't believe it's been that long because it's flown by, as we said it would. And I said there was a gymnast who was back. He had torn ACL like 2 or 3 years. He
Mhm.
won at the junior level, tore his ACL, came back from it. And I remember reading that Japan, like the Japanese Gymnastics Association, really felt this kid could win because he's young.
Yeah.
He's young and then back from an ACL. Talk about a competition that he put together and did not get rattled. He doesn't have the same level of difficulty as the two Chinese guys, or
Mhm.
is his teammate Daiki Hashimoto, who I love his gymnastics. I
I think everybody does.
Everybody does. It is so spectacular. It's so beautiful. He had some issues, in the
Yeah.
competition, and they were heartbreaking, but he was phenomenal. And he actually, like, for him to climb back up and end up sixth in the all around, that was phenomenal. But so cool to see Zhang Bohang, who I love, like, gorgeous gymnastics,
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous gymnastics. And Zhao Roteng, also just
Mhm.
beautiful, beautiful gymnastics. They were silver and bronze. And two of my favorites, Ilya Kovtun and Oleg Vernayev of Ukraine, they get the Spirit Award. I don't know what medal you should give, but that is the spirit of the Olympic Games,
Yeah.
the resilience, the perseverance, the hardships that they've had to endure to just train
Right.
under the most stressful circumstances you can possibly imagine,
Right.
when they're at war, like literally bombs going
Yeah.
off outside their gyms, and they're just trying to stay focused, and the determination that they had to represent their country and their
Mhm.
people, and to do something so powerful,
Yeah.
to bring hope, to bring joy, to bring, um, to the Ukrainian people. I thought it was
Mhm.
such a beautiful moment. And their gymnastics is phenomenal. Like, goodness gracious, they are so fun to watch in competition. I'm blown away by the difficulty that the men are throwing,
Right.
um, on all six events, really. So the all around was exciting. Jake Jarman, phenomenal, for Team GB. He and, was it Harry Hepworth, I believe, was in. No, no, no. He was in event finals and did a phenomenal job, but couldn't couldn't quite zone in on those landings, get the step,
Mhm.
because I mean that's what it was going to take, obviously, in men's all around. So, because I'm just going to sort of throw his name out there because then we'll get to the really exciting part. Um, Carlos Yulo of the Philippines. We'll talk about event finals later, but he finished 12th in the all around, which is amazing. And such an exciting gymnast for for the gymternet out there. Everybody adores him, as they should,
I
as
was
we
gonna
all.
say, how can you like, literally, how can you not love him?
Ah, I love his gymnastics. I love his spirit. And yeah, I mean, easy to root for. I like. There's nobody here I don't root for, honestly. But he's very, very special. The Ukrainian gymnasts are very special, and I'm just the biggest fan of the entire Chinese team and the
Mhm.
Japanese team as well. Just their whole approach to gymnastics. And this is one of the things I think we should remind people is in Japan, this is in their school system. Like literally every
Right.
child
Yeah.
who goes to school does gymnastics. Like they are
Gosh.
introduced to gymnastics. It is could you imagine in our
I
country?
was just about to say, can you imagine if that was part of, like,
Oh,
the American school system?
yeah.
Think about it.
I mean, and you probably didn't do gymnastics in school. We actually did in my um, junior high. Now we had gymnastics that we rotated through in um, junior high school because
Yeah.
that's when I started gymnastics. We did acrobatics and like little things in elementary school PE. That
Oh
was
my
part of
gosh.
physical education. Not back in the day, but back in the day,
Back in the day.
yeah,
Well, okay, so men's all around finals, I think I like what you said that it brought so much attraction
yeah,
to men's gymnastics, which we've been saying this for years. It is so well deserved, and it is such a beautiful sport of power and grace and flexibility, and I mean, you really have to be an all-around athlete with every ounce of strength, power, grace, air awareness, all these amazing things that men's gymnastics brings together. And I do think that the coverage that we saw is only going to help. I mean, it's only going to take it to new heights, to new limits.
yeah. Yeah, and we have to thank our friend pommel horse guy Stephen
Oh my
Netterosso. I
gosh.
mean, if he
Absolutely.
didn't capture everybody in the world's attention and so sweetly, including Elmo. I mean, he was so sweet with his exchange with Elmo about being a
Oh, I know.
specialist, and the whole Superman and the Clark Kent and just uh, and what's really special about him is every time he was interviewed, he brought it back to the team, brought it back to gymnastics, brought it back to, trying to shine a light on this sport
Right.
and and men's gymnastics to a point where maybe we're going to see something special happen in our country. Maybe we're going to see more resources, more money, more
Yeah.
opportunities. I would certainly love to see it grow again in NCAA gymnastics because that is how we have grown Olympians. I mean,
Absolutely.
all
No,
of these guys came from that, and he's going to be a big part of that. So,
I agree. I
yeah,
agree. Well, I do want to transition over to the women's because the all around final was, I don't wanna say that it was what we expected, but we did see for the first time ever, you had 2 Olympic champions back,
yeah, yeah,
and that is, I don't even know, I don't know what that would feel like. I mean, I don't know what it feels like to be an Olympic champion in the first place, but I to have Simone and Suni back, Simone on really coming back for, I don't wanna say it was a redemption, but she had to prove to herself, I think, personally, I believe that she was in such a good headspace mentally. She's in one of the better physical shapes she's ever been in. I mean, she looks incredible. She
yeah,
always does.
yeah,
Girl's always got it going on. But I think we really wanna hit on just how impressive it is to see
yeah.
that
I
happen
think
because it never happens.
what was most impressive because I know so much of what she wanted to happen here for herself, one to do it for herself.
Right.
Um, but to not just like she wanted to be at her best, which she accomplished that. It's the best
Mhm.
gymnastics we've ever seen, Simone Biles.
For sure. Oh,
I
absolutely, no
mean,
question.
across the board in on every event, every skill, still pushing the envelope on difficulty, of course, but to actually do it when she feels happy.
Yeah.
Happy and joyful to be doing gymnastics, doing it because she loves doing gymnastics. Yes, she loves to win. Yes, she
Right.
loves to be the best. Yes, she loves to be the GOAT. All of that is true, but most important, she wanted to feel happy and joyful about the sport again. And the way that she interacted with other gymnasts on the floor showed us that. It wasn't
Yeah.
just her relationship with her gymnastics, her relationship with teammates, with other competitors on the floor.
Mhm.
One of the most powerful things that she talked about, and I think we really need to think about this, is how much she enjoyed other people's success and their
Right.
special Olympic moments, how happy she felt for them, how much she wanted to celebrate them and feel joy for them. And then she said, I wish I could do that for myself. I wish I could celebrate myself that way. But there's still that layer of it's almost more relief when
Yeah.
she does what she's expected to do. Not that other people are expecting. Yes, of course they're expecting it, but she
Mhm.
went in expecting it from herself. So she put
Right.
those expectations upon herself. And when you achieve them, I think she would have liked to have been able to go that next step and be as joyful for herself,
Right.
equally joyful to the sense of relief and the feeling of, oh, thank God that's over. I
Yeah.
mean, but that's the reality. And it's what's so cool is that she's able to share honestly, completely
Oh, yeah.
honestly about every aspect. And then, most important, keep things to herself too. The important things that she wanted to keep to herself that were hers. She
Right.
was able to do that, I believe, and then go back and share them with her husband, with her sister, with her mom and dad. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, that we keep talking about the growth and maturity. It was so much on display, especially when there was a mistake. So,
Yeah.
first, like, vault goes and it's phenomenal, like everybody expect, and she throws the pike double, and she is off and running. And then
Right.
you get the bars, and you expect because she's been knocking that bar routine out just left and right, left and right. It's always an adventure because she swings bars faster than anybody I have.
Oh, she has the quickest twitch on bars that I've ever
Yeah,
seen. I mean,
it's
it is just it normally, I think bars some like, we commentate and we say she's a very smooth bar swinger.
yes,
Simone is a very smooth bar swinger, but she does it at, like, 3 times the speed.
yes. And when you talk about the very best bar workers, which we will when we get into the finals and talk about all of that, there's more patience.
Yeah.
There's but they take their time to get everything out of the full swing and show every part of the swing, including the finish position, the start position, the finish position, and the full swing.
Right.
Simone doesn't do that, but Simone does Simone on bars, and that is good enough. Like, it's pretty spectacular. That said,
Correct.
when she cast up, she was a teensy bit short, and then it made her rush even faster because she had to, because she
Right.
wasn't quite in that handstand. And I kind of went woo, like in my living room. I thought, oh my god, she's got way more swing into that pack salto, and I go, oh, she was
Yeah.
above the high. I go, uh oh. Thank goodness she's 4'8", 4'9", because when she caught, can you imagine swinging on the low bar and all you had to do is bend your
No.
knees and not hit
Yeah.
not hit the ground? How she managed to keep going, that in and of itself was pure genius and magic all together, that she kept it together, but it was a big mistake. It was
Yeah.
absolutely a big mistake.
Oh, absolutely.
And a big deduction. And now, because things are closer with Rebecca Andrade right there, who's, I mean, threw a heck of a vault in the
Oh my
first round
gosh.
to be like, okay, let's all just bow down, genuflect right now. Um, to Andrade's Chung. That's just the most beautiful, spectacular piece of gymnastics. One of the most, if not the most spectacular on vault.
Right.
It's otherworldly, as I said, in the name of the block and the set and the twist and the landing. She's phenomenal. So now
Truly.
now they're really close. In fact, Rebecca's moved ahead. But Suni comes up, okay, after hitting her best vault.
Right.
Okay, that's the best I have seen, double twist, I've seen Suni do all season long. So she's right in the mix, and then she gets to bars. And oh my gosh, seeing her, because that's the other side of bars,
Right.
is the when you're milking every single piece of that routine, everything is extended. It's so precise, it's so pristine and immaculate and elegant, you
Yeah,
know?
she makes bars very elegant. So she's so graceful. I mean,
Yeah,
I think I've said this before, but Suni's bars is a true work of art.
yeah,
I mean, it is truly a work of
yeah.
art.
I got a screenshot of her Nabieba that was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, literally, it was so beautiful. The
Right.
extension, the straight legs, the pointed toes, even the fingertips in the grips.
Oh, I know. They're like,
They're like dance. They're like, you know,
that was never me.
no, that was it's just stunning. And so I loved seeing that. And now the three we thought would really be in the mix. They're right
Right.
there with Alicia D'Amato. Oh my gosh, what an Olympics. First of all, what an Olympics Italy had
Oh,
with
yeah.
medal, and then making finals, and then right in there, I know she's like joking around this fourth place,
Oh,
fourth
I
place.
know.
I mean, I hate when people say the worst place you can finish. I was like, what? How about fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth? Not, excuse me. I mean, yes, I know it's off the podium. I know it's just missing a medal. But as she said, I mean, two Olympic champions finish ahead of her, you know, and a two-time Olympic silver medalist in the all around. Okay, I'm okay being fourth.
I'd be pretty proud.
Very, very proud. And she did phenomenally well in all around. But then, so now pressure's building. You get to the balance beam. You get to balance beam, and we've seen some we've seen some stuff on beam, and we know beam.
Mhm.
Like obviously, we know beam. Um, but to see them come back like Simone, you knew she was like, this is what's the right word when you're attacking beam? Like Simone can work beam angry. She
I
can.
would say there's a term coming to my mind, but I don't think it's appropriate, but I get
Okay,
what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. It's but it works for her. I don't know that it would work for me. Honestly, I don't know. I don't remember ever being. I'd angry beam. I don't know that I ever did angry beam. Some
Oh,
people.
I
I
definitely
know
have done
you did.
angry beam. That is the best kind of beam because you just there's a special place when you do angry beam because there is nothing that will take you off of that event. On an event that normally takes people I mean, it takes people off all the time.
Yeah, I
But at the Olympic Games, I think angry beam, it could go one or, it could go amazing, which it did, or it can, you know, there's
well,
just a lot going
no.
at the
I mean, I
Olympic
think
Games to do angry
that
beam.
was the key to Simone's all around.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree.
and winning all around was beam, and I mean, shout out to her because she just attacked. I mean,
Yeah,
literally attacked that beam routine. And Rebecca and Suni, they hit. They definitely hit on beam. So now they're right in the mix. But Simone just risked total annihilation So in order to be
Oh,
great, you have to risk total annihilation. Meaning, when you go that aggressively, that quick tempo, that, I mean, she was able to work through things that other gymnasts wouldn't be able to. It's like
yeah.
you just left yourself no option. No, there is no other option. I'm nailing this routine. I'm
Yeah.
getting back my cushion that I gave up.
Yeah.
We had a cushion going into bars, big cushion, but not
Yeah.
as big as she would have liked. You know,
For
had she
sure.
drilled that Yurchenko double pike, I you probably could have fallen and still won. So it was very
Yeah.
exciting. And then oh my gosh, I love floor exercise. Those three, they couldn't be more different if you think about it.
Yeah.
Which which I think is what made that final rotation so exciting because they all brought their special
Right.
to that event. They do on every event. They absolutely do. But Suni's floor routine in all around was so extraordinary. When she did that first pass, because I don't think she thought she had a chance after beam because she didn't do like she knew she needed to capitalize on bars and beam. Those
Right.
needed to be her super high scores. Bars was really good. Um, Beam was not her
Yeah.
best. It just wasn't. She had the misses, and it's like, oh my god. So, which I think actually set it up so beautifully for her because there was nothing to lose. They had
Yeah.
won the team gold. That was their
Right.
primary goal, was to get back there. This whole team, that was their primary goal. Their whole focus was to win that team gold medal. They had that.
Right.
Suni wanted to be in the all around, wanted an all around medal, absolutely. But more than that, I think she wanted the feeling of finishing strong and all around to be proud of, and that was going to happen. And when she
For sure.
nailed that first pass, I go,
It's happening.
it's happening
Yeah.
because that just cue the magic. Okay, that cued the magic because it was gorgeous, and the smile on her face. That's
Oh,
when
she knew.
oh, I
Yeah.
don't I it's funny, I'm not sure if she knew as much as we knew,
Oh,
because
true.
then when I started really knowing was when she did the double turn, double L turn. It's the best
Mhm.
she's done it. Since in all the competitions we've watched, all of the from classics to championships to trials to preliminaries, and now here in the all that is the best she's ever done. That double L turn stayed in releve all
Yep.
the way around and into the next turn. I was like, oh my god, that's when I go, oh gosh, now wolf turn. Okay,
Right.
so that wolf turn. Always weird things can happen on it. Got through that. And I'm thinking, oh my God, well, if she nails this pass, it's for sure. That's what I
Yeah.
think. If she nails it, she kind of hopped the most graceful hop forward I've ever seen in my life. Okay,
Little.
it was like when you can make a slightly short landing look that graceful.
That's impressive.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
bowing down. It was so beautiful. And in the white leotard and all, it was just so magical. But it was a slight deduction. So I was like, okay, let's see what the
See what
score
happens.
and not like she'd done all she could do.
Right.
Now it's dependent on everybody else. So when it was so wonderful seeing Rebecca Andrade. I'm absolutely firmly planted in her fan club. I just love this gymnast. I love this human. I love her story, everything about her, and the way she is with the other athletes, the
Yeah.
way Simone loves her, Suni loves her, Jordan, like everybody loves, everybody loves Rebecca.
I don't know if you can't like, I don't know if it's possible not to love her because everything she does is just so genuine, which again, this is just a view like this is watching from afar, of course, but everything just seems so genuine, so real and authentic and just
Yeah. I mean,
appreciative. She's so
imagine
appreciative.
I don't think anybody can imagine if living in such abject poverty when she was growing up in the favelas. Um,
Yeah,
Walking to the gym to, mother giving up her bus money so that she
right.
could take the bus and not have to walk 2 miles to the gym. I mean, everything about her story, um, just makes her somebody that you want to love and root for, but not just that, her gymnastics speaks for itself. Like, it's
Yeah,
just glorious. It's glorious. She's, as Simone said, nobody's ever been that close to Simone. And I think the two of them pushing each other made each other so great. Um, but even aside from that, she just lights up the floor when she
mhm,
performs, the way she connects with the audience, um, how spirited she is when she competes. I mean,
mhm.
really pushing and knowing how much it means to her, and 3 ACLs. Like, I'm
That is wild.
I
That is Whew.
add all of that add all of that together. I mean, against all odds,
Yeah,
this woman didn't just succeed. She was like one of the most brilliant athletes that I've ever witnessed, and for her to be the most medaled in Brazil now of any Olympic athlete, so well deserved. Um,
right.
I just I just love it. So when the score is all settled and you end up with the 3 that we actually previewed,
Yeah,
going in to these Olympics, and we had to consider that Suni was still on the rise, which she was.
for sure.
There is something that's so, and Jess has said it about her, but she is like a tiger. She is so fierce. She is such a fighter in this beautiful, elegant, sweet package that you're like, you don't realize how much of a fighter she is and how
Yeah,
determined that she is, because everything looks so pretty and so elegant and so, um, but knowing what she had to go through
yeah,
and what she had to overcome, again, another against all odds.
yeah. I think Suni just, I feel like this Olympic Games was so special to her because for so long she didn't know if it was even a
Yeah,
possibility.
yeah,
I mean, she had no idea if it was a possibility, and then being so grateful, so incredibly grateful for the opportunity that she was able to make possible. She wasn't gonna let that slip through her fingers.
yeah,
You could tell by her gymnastics, even with the little mistakes, she never gave up.
no,
She never called it quits. It was always, we move forward. We take
yeah,
one step forward. And
yeah,
I think that she is such every athlete that is at the Olympics is an amazing role model, but these gymnasts,
yeah,
I'm a little biased. I am. I think they are just outstanding role models for the younger generation
yeah. I
of,
credit a
you
lot
know,
of it to, um, the support they have for each other.
yeah. I would
That
agree.
was
Yeah.
so evident. I've seen it so much in men's gymnastics, not just among teammates, but even among competitors from other teams. The genuine respect they have for each other, but also the way they support each other.
Yeah.
And I think, because I read this, that after or even before the qualifications or before the team finals, probably, that they really got together and said, we need to talk more, like communicate better. Because and a lot of times when people are under stress, the tendency is to go inward,
Right.
not outward.
Yeah.
Well, when you're trying to accomplish something so big as a team, sometimes you have to open up to each other, you know,
Right.
because that is how you then share the pressure, share the load, and I think they did that so well. A lot of that's the maturity that
Yeah,
they have, but the commitment, it's obvious to me that their top priority was that team medal, and that was
for
wonderful.
sure. Yeah. No, and I
And
think I
that was genuine.
yes, and I think too, like you said, sometimes you have to open up. And at the end of the day, gymnastics is a very individualized sport. When you go into the NCAA, it is a huge shift because as an elite athlete, I trained by myself until, my teammate and now one of my closest friends, Zan Peshik, came to train with me. It was me and my coach. So it can be really foreign to open up to your teammates when you're not used to having them, if that makes sense, which I do think the camps that they're having now, the the times that these athletes are having now together is
Mhm.
why it's so much easier to say, "Hey, I'm really struggling."
Yeah.
They're not looking at it as a burden or as something like, "Oh, that's how we're gonna use that against you." They're looking at it as, "How can I help?"
Yeah.
And it shows. I mean, it totally shows in the like you said, the maturity of the gymnastics that we're seeing, but also the maturity off the competition floor that we're
Mhm.
seeing.
No, and I think a lot of them, because they shared their vulnerability with each other when they were
Yeah.
struggling, and they were very, very open, whether it was talking about just um, mental health or a crisis of confidence.
Yeah.
And each one of these athletes had times, sometimes extended periods of time, where they had to deal with a crisis of confidence
Yeah.
in their own ability to either overcome, whether it was um, the kidney issues, some
Yeah.
things that were out of your control. Um, all of the things that Simone had to overcome after Tokyo,
Yeah.
so many of them. And then others with injuries and untimely, and so many things that happen that we don't even know about.
Right.
To be clear, you know, I know, because we've been there. There are so much more going on that we will never know,
Yeah.
and they don't need to share all the hardships, all the difficult
Right.
things. But I remember them. You experienced them in your journey, when things happen, and you've got to figure out a way to get through them
I
together.
mean, yeah. That is literally the only way you figure out a way. Um, and that is why, Kathy, we are gonna figure out a way to discuss event finals because there
Tell me
was
something.
there was a lot going on for event finals, but the women started with vault on day 1 and the men started on floor and pommel horse.
Day one was so
Lights
good.
out.
It was lights out, lights out. Can we just say Carlos Yulo, Carlos Yulo, Carlos Yulo? Wow! Oh my God!
Yes,
I
we can.
mean, yes, we can, because anybody who has followed this gymnast, and I have for several years. I got lucky enough covering him with Bart.
Yeah,
I think it was Pan Am. It was so awesome because I was like, oh my God, I love this gymnast. He is so clean. His parallel bars, his rings, like, he is a great all around gymnast. But all the stars and planets aligned for him for floor exercise and vault finals, knowing he was in the finals on
right.
both of these, and knowing that he's got a routine. I
That
mean,
is up there.
this is a stacked final, though.
Yeah,
Okay? Both like floor and vault for the men was just stacked, lights out, crazy good gymnastics. But when Carlos went, I was like, oh my God, that final landing on his pass after crazy passes and then sticking 3.5 twists, he landed like a dart, dropped from the sky into the floor. His legs were almost straight. They almost didn't even bend. He just went doink. Like, that was the sound. Doink. And I go, oh my God, is that going to do it? Is that going to, like, it seemed like it was enough, because there were, I mean, I loved Jake Jarman's floor. the
Yeah.
only other trip 3.5 twist that you're just going, seriously? Like,
What's crazy to me is they make the 3.5 look so easy, and,
I
like,
mean,
to put into perspective, on the women's side, if you were to do a 3.5, that would be your first pass, like, that's you would have to do that first, and these guys are ending with, just casually like, "Oh, 3.5. Oh,
and you're talking 6, 7 tumbling passes.
oh, yeah.
Okay,
It's insane. It's
Bridget,
crazy.
we didn't, I mean, we
I
only did
did
3.
5.
That's
I did
crazy.
5.
That's crazy. We only
It
did
was
3.
crazy.
And it was back in the day with the lunge, which I want to bring the lunge back, but we're not going to dive into that.
Oh,
Anyways, but I do, because I just really do. Not that I don't need to see a stock landing, because those are really cool. And if it fits in the routine for women, great. But if not, I love a beautiful controlled lunge too. But anyways, so Yulo, a gold medal, first for the Philippines. Um, and then, like, I know we're not on to vault, but literally that won him not just a gold medal, but a house
I
from the
mean,
Philippines.
Kathy, it won him a lot of things.
I
He's
know.
got a lifetime of colonoscopies,
Oh, yeah.
excellent, free buffet, I believe, for the rest of his life.
Cookies, cookies too.
Oh,
From a
I to be honest, that sounds incredible. I would love free cookies for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
think it
great. But I
got
will say the
happy.
colonoscopies,
Yeah,
they're after age 45, but with all the buffet, it'll probably be a good thing for him. But yeah, I mean, he won a all these, which I think that goes to put into perspective just how
yeah,
special these medals
yeah,
are for each individual country. I mean,
yes,
the first ever, and it
yeah,
gives me chills.
yeah, yeah. It was painful seeing Ilya just out of the medals. Um, so he ended up fourth, but Jake Jarman walked away with the bronze. Artem Dolgopiat, silver. I mean, so floor was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then vault, of course, for the women, because they went vault and then they did women on vault. And oh, for Jade Carey,
I
how
know.
wonderful redemption. Like,
That had to feel really good for her.
I know, especially after, I mean, can you imagine the bad luck of not feeling well on the day of the Olympics for team? Like, in
No, I can't
no,
imagine that.
and you have to, I mean, that's life. It these things happen in life, and of course we didn't know that was what was happening,
Right.
what's going on, but then knowing she just didn't feel well, when you're sick, like, what do you do? But she
I
got
mean,
herself into vault finals, thank goodness.
right. Being sick is difficult. Just living, like going to work every day and being, feeling a little under the weather, you could probably be like, "Hey, I'm going to call out sick today." It's not like she could have been like, "Hey guys, so sorry. I'm feeling a little under the weather. I'm actually going to call out sick today. So if we could just postpone."
Yeah,
Like that's not how it is. So the saying fake it till you make it, it's kind of like it's showtime.
yeah,
I think she did such an incredible job of,
yeah.
not only standing up for herself, but being there for her team when they did need her.
Oh,
And to
yeah.
see her in those vault finals though.
No. She came up so huge in team finals for them on vault. I mean, and only
Yes.
got to do that one event, but it was the right call, obviously.
Yeah.
But to see her be able to, I mean, perfect script actually, because flashback 3 years ago in Tokyo, most people thought, okay, vault finals.
Yeah.
This is her chance. This is her gold medal
Oh,
shot. I don't think anybody had her for gold medal on floor before vault. Like, you would have thought
yeah.
vault, and then
Right.
she trips. I
Oh,
mean, so I mean, what great story she's going to have to tell her grandkids someday, because we all got to witness the resilience of, you never, ever, ever give up.
never.
And you find a way to make something so special out of a heartache, because there's no way she
Yeah.
wasn't sad about floor not being able to,
Right.
try to make floor finals.
Yeah.
As the defending Olympic champion on floor exercise, but to come up with a medal on vault. And those were great vaults, by the way.
Oh, yeah, they were.
I think they were two of the best vaults I've seen her do.
I would agree.
Just in
I would
terms of
agree.
form, that's the cleanest form I've ever seen from Jade. Technique was really strong, nice tight twist, and good landing.
She she just looked at peace.
Yeah,
Like, she looked like
yeah.
she
There's no
maybe at
stress.
peace is the wrong
There's
yeah,
no
there we
stress.
thank you. She didn't look like she was she was just out there doing gymnastics, and
Yeah,
that's is when these athletes do their best gymnastics, when
yeah,
they're just out there competing, which I know sounds silly, but it is true.
yeah. And I wonder where the switch is on her father, because he has to be able to flip the switch. Coach, dad,
Ooh,
coach, dad. And
that has
and I love the
got
way
to be
he does it.
tough.
Yeah, but he does it really, really well. Because he was there when she needed him
Yes. I mean,
after like to keep her up and to just,
yeah.
that feeling when you have unconditional love, unconditional just support. There's nothing like it. I mean, they all need
No.
that, obviously. But anyway, so it was so exciting to see her get her individual medal on
Yes.
vault, and then to see the great Simone do her.
Do her thing.
Did you
Just an
see her kind of
average day.
slip? Did you see her hand kind of slip? Was that in all around or event final? I can't remember which one it was because I was like, oh, like it looked like it kind of slipped. Can you imagine
Oh,
on a pike?
no.
Yes, it was a little bit of a slip. No problem. I think she was even talking about, yes, I was thinking right here. Oh, they had her talk about it. Tell us what you were thinking when you're and
Oh
so
my
she's looking
gosh.
at her wrong. She's going, right now I'm thinking, don't trip. Here I was like, yes. And then here it's like, oh, hand slipped a little bit. And then on the double pike, she goes, pull, 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 but not too hard. Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh. You wanna know here, you wanna know what my thought process would be on
Yeah,
a Yurchenko
yeah.
double pike? On the run, it would be run as fast as you can. Then as my hands hit the table, grab your feet and pray. Actually, not grab your feet. Grab your legs and pray and pull and pull and pull, and maybe, just maybe,
Yeah.
you'll make it close to your feet.
Yeah. Well, I did pike double
That would be
dance on
me.
the floor with no springs, so I was always just glad your legs are long
Right,
enough for your torso,
Kathy.
feet over your head. I was like, feet over your head, feet over your head, and your legs are longer than your torso, so your feet are going to land before your head. That's the way.
Kathy, that makes
No,
my hamstrings hurt.
no. When you have to worry about over rotating a Yurchenko double pike,
Gosh.
that's just something
Yeah.
we'll ever know what that feels like. But anyways, got to see it. Did a wonderful chung. Rebecca, boy, she found those landings on the chung every single time, every single
Yeah.
time. So vault was a spectacular event for the women, as expected.
Yes.
And then pommel horse. Pommel horse guy.
Kathy's favorite.
I do love pommel horse. So I've
Actually,
always
it's one of your favorites. I shouldn't
no, it
just assume
is.
it's your favorite, but
Yeah. I think if I had to choose two favorites, because I really like.
would you choose?
Oh god, it's really hard. So it's changed through the years, um,
Naturally.
naturally. But I love parallel bars and pommel horse. Um, I love them all for different
Oh,
reasons. I really do because the strength skills on rings, and when it's like we had some of the most amazing ring routines. So I love
right.
these here, but I would say pommel horse and parallel bars are my two
Wow.
favorites right now, because I'm in awe. Like I love the way that the event has changed over
Yeah.
the years. Pommel horse routines are so long now.
Oh, I know.
I'm like, and then when you've got the best pommel horse workers in the world, Reese McClanahan, like, love him. I have loved following him every step of the way. I was thrilled when he won the world championships. His pommel horse work is sublime. It's
Yeah.
so smooth, so clean. And he has built to this moment. for him to go up and hit what I would imagine is the routine of his life.
Right.
Like, and for me, when I saw that routine, I was like, that's it. I can't imagine. And there are a lot of great pommel horse workers in the finals, but I still felt when I saw that routine,
That was it?
that was it. That's the gold medal right there. It
Yeah.
just was that special. It was
Right.
that well executed. The form was so good. There was never any time where there's usually in even the greatest pommel horse routines where you go, whoop, like legs start
Yeah.
to come apart
Like a little nervous.
a little, like, oh my God, but then they work through it. And then, because I mean, you've got Max Whitlock, two-time Olympic champion on this event, on the event, Oleg Vernayev, like phenomenal pommel horse workers. And of course, Superman, Clark Kent, pommel horse guy, Rubik's Cube master, like
I mean,
ultimate.
what can't he do?
It, how how he managed, because he went in with a lot of pressure, a lot of being a specialist in a team
Yeah.
and helping your team wait all the way through an entire competition, hours till your moment,
Yeah.
and come up big. And he did in qualifying, save them, like got them
Yeah.
into team finals, and then built to that pressure. Unbelievable in that moment, the team. So the high that he had to be on, and then get ready for pommel horse finals with expectations now. I
They were
don't
high.
they were so high, and the
No,
hope.
they were high.
I
Yeah.
would say the nice thing is beyond the expectations being really, really high, which sometimes that can just be so pressure
Yeah.
inducing. But what was higher than the expectation was hope. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like this joyful hope
Kathy.
that this guy who captured everybody's heart.
Yes.
I think in that moment, I didn't feel the stress that I thought I would feel for him. I felt the hope.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he did. And then just all the unique stories that came out that I didn't even know, because we learned exactly what his visual um, uh, issues are.
Yeah.
And the fact that really, when he takes those glasses off, he can't see, that he
You talk
doesn't
about
feel
body awareness.
hand awareness. And then when he did, like, I love when he even does it when he was doing his cue. He'll do his routine and it's a feel thing, you know? And it's almost like pommel horse does have algorithms, does have
I
like the rhythm. It's like a math nerd's dream, I would think. The rhythm, because math, music, they're so
Yeah.
intertwined. And so for his brain, he's so perfectly suited for this event.
Yeah.
When you watch and that rhythm just stays the same and it
Yeah.
just knocks it out until it's supposed to speed up, the triple Russian, the like, it's unbelievable. So it was so
Yeah.
exciting to see him get that bronze. And then what was beautiful too, so I can't remember who went up last. Was it Vernayev? I can't remember. But no, not Vernayev, but there was a fall, an unexpected
Yeah.
fall. And it was by one of the best. And everybody knows, oh, now Steve's got the bronze. And he wouldn't celebrate. He wouldn't. And then that was just genuine because he sat there, because you know what it feels like as an athlete.
Oh,
You
yeah. I
have
mean, you never want to ccelebrate early, you don't, but sometimes it is hard not to be like
Yeah. I mean, I think
and
everybody else, but his was genuine. He was like, oh no, because he is a pommel horse guy's pommel horse guy.
oh,
Does that make
I
sense?
like that. It does, I
He
mean, it makes
is
sense in my
just
brain.
true and true, because they're like the nerds of the gymnastics world. They're wonderful. It's awesome. I love it. And he is the ultimate nerd. Proudly, proudly, he's embraced it, and it's made him so special and so unique. But you want everybody to hit because
Yeah.
he wanted to see it, not just because he wanted that for them. You want to
Right.
see a great routine. It's exciting. So but bronze medal for pommel horse guy, and it helps our sport. It just does.
Oh, absolutely.
The more attention that we get, because people didn't know how great men's gymnastics was. Too many
No,
people in this
now.
country didn't know how phenomenal men's gymnastics is, and now they do, and they're going to follow it. You
I
know,
agree. I agree.
super duper cool. Day two.
Oh, we're on to day 2. So day
Oh,
2, bars for the women and then rings and vault for the men's. So you can start with whichever one you would
oh my
like.
gosh. Okay, so one of my favorite routines, two of them actually, and they ended up gold and silver on rings. Actually, I loved all the medalists on rings, but Liu Yang, oh, like
Crazy. Crazy
crazy.
strong. Like
but
just
but a whole different, like, I don't know. He's got something. I think, did Justin say like hydraulics in his shoulders? I think that was one of
wow.
them. That was phenomenal. Justin Spring did a heck of a job too.
Oh yeah.
My
He's so
okay,
great.
he
I don't
is.
want to gas him up, but like Justin, you're phenomenal.
Oh my god, I really, really loved listening to him and John together.
Yeah.
Especially, they brought so much to the competition, but also the intricate things about gymnastics,
Yeah.
which was really, really cool. And especially this event, because the strength is through all the years of gymnastics that I've seen it go from, it was all about strength. It was all the
Right.
strength skills and holding and the positions and everything. Then it went to more swing, um, which I love both. I mean, I really,
Yeah.
really love both. Well, then strength has really, really come back. You still have the swing, and of course, you want the stillness of the rings, which just blows my mind. I love watching them the way they have to, like if they pick up a little bit of swing, and all of a sudden they do the next
Yep.
giant boom, and they just stop it. It was like, how do you do that?
Kathy, I don't know.
That's I know. I
I
that's what
truly have no idea.
I know it. Like it'd be swinging rings
Oh,
for me. I'd be all over.
I
Yeah.
I would be back and forth there. I would be screaming help. Someone help me. Cause
Sorry,
yeah,
I just
I
cackled.
don't know how, but you almost have to wonder if rings is, especially when they do start to swing. I mean, it's basically how to counter your swing.
Yes.
So when the rings,
How to kill
are going one way,
it.
you're trying to stop it, but the way that they do it,
Mhm.
you just have to ask how are you doing that?
Yeah.
Because it's impressive.
Yeah. But as Justin said, I mean, strength is like the seventh event. Um, and that's obvious when you see
Yeah.
these ringmen do these phenomenal routines and hold positions, or I mean, the way they get into them, you're like, no,
How?
that's not physically possible. So phenomenal ring final. Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Loved it. And which set up maybe one of my I it was probably my favorite final, like bar finals. Because
Yeah.
let's face it, we have all just been waiting for Kellyanne Moore to do what she did.
To do what she does best.
To like, I mean, this was, I don't want to say it was preordained because it wasn't, but like
Right.
nothing is ever guaranteed. Nothing is ever, for sure. But first of all, her bar routine on paper, like just the start value alone. And if she makes all those connections, it's all connected. Like her
Yeah.
entire routine is connected.
I'd say, doesn't she do like 2 cast handstands?
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Yes.
To like basically to start and then
Yes.
to get into her dismount?
Yes, too.
Yeah.
I think so. That's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
flipping
insane.
straight body cast handstand too,
Oh, I could
which
never.
no, I wish that straddle up handstands back in my day were more, um, except I did them, but at first, so I remember when my coach said,
Were they not
"No,"
accepted?
so well, not really. It was
Oh,
right around
uh-uh.
my time, and I think I was one of the first who actually, because I did two of them in my routine, because my coach said, why don't you straddle up to hand? Because I could not cast a hand. stand perfect with keeping my legs together to save my life. Like it just, I don't know why it was my Achilles. Like it just was not my thing. So he goes, just straddle up. And I'm like, I'm not going to straddle up. That's like,
Yeah, and then you did it one time and you're like,
that's like,
"Wait, this is a heck of a lot
that's
easier."
like cheating. Everybody will know I can't cast a handstand. He goes, you can't. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Kathy, the truth hurts
You
sometimes.
are right. So I just straddled right up to handstand. I was like,
I
oh.
love it.
And then because then I was able to do, my optional bars were
Well, then you're not wasting your energy
I know.
literally trying to get up there, but
Yeah.
doing a straight body cast handstand, I believe I did them back in the day when I was young and light and just, like, floated up there, and then, I stopped doing them
Yeah.
because I
I
couldn't
found
do
out
it.
too late. I found out way too late what would have helped me. Because after I had retired and I was working on a film, I got new grips uh,
Oh,
and played on bars. Because see, I didn't have the dowel grips. I didn't even have the grips that they before the dowels. They did ones that just had a fold,
oh,
okay? A fold, but not a dowel. That fold would have saved my life. And
oh,
I
well.
could have cast a handstand because I realized at the end of my long hang, my grip
Yep.
lip like this,
Oh, you had to regrip, so I
but I
got
could
you.
never regrip. We had big oval bars.
Oh, you were not set
No, it
up
was
to do
awful.
that.
I was not set
Kathy,
up. I
that's
mean,
not a you problem. It wasn't you, it was the
okay, thank
bars,
you, Bridget.
and
Of course it was. So then all of a sudden I could do cast handstands. I was like, yeah, but I'm retired. But
I
anyways, bar
mean, if you
finals.
ever need a party trick, I
No,
can do cast
I
handstand.
I know. No, I think those days are behind me now, and that's okay. So, anyways, everybody was waiting for Kalia, and again, I think it was like with Steve Netarosik. Yes, there were expectations, but
Yeah.
I just felt so much energy and hope too when she went up to
Yeah.
bars. But when you're there's so much risk in that bar routine, connecting
Right.
all of those and everything, and to not get ahead of yourself, to not rush. And she knew she needed to do the routine of her life because it was so cool to see Chichiran hit her
I
bar
know.
routine. They had a rough Olympics. They had and it's so hard to see beautiful gymnasts when you love the routine,
Yeah.
especially like bars and beam. I love the Chinese on that event. I love their bars and beam, and they couldn't quite hit, but to see
Yeah.
her hit, did you see her beautiful reaction after hitting that bar routine? It was so,
Oh,
I mean, tears, the joy, like relief, all of those
yeah.
feelings all at once. Um, so it's so cool to see her walk away with the silver medal, but most important,
Right.
hit that routine and show the world what she could do on that event. So that was exciting.
Absolutely.
And then Suni,
Miss Sudi
Miss
herself.
Suni, the thing that she wanted, it's like, and this was the cool thing, and for all young gymnasts out there hearing this. So she ended up winning the identical medal, bronze, that she did in Tokyo when she
Yeah.
wasn't happy with that routine because it wasn't the routine that she knew she was capable of doing. And she really wanted to
Right.
do her routine the way she knew she could do it. And she didn't, but she still won
Right.
a bronze medal because she's brilliant on bars and phenomenal. And
Right.
to see her so happy to come through because she hit that bar routine in qualifying
Yep.
all around and then in bar finals to see her because that was pressure.
Yeah.
Not from expectations of other people,
Right.
her own internal pressure. She wanted that bar
Right.
routine. And so for her to come up with it and feel so good and see the
Yeah.
smile on her face, it was wonderful. And yet, yeah, it was a bronze medal again. But the difference is the routine
Right.
made her feel good. That was the routine she wanted to do in that moment. So it
I
was
would agree. I think too, Suni, again, like I've mentioned before, like this Olympics is just so different than Tokyo. I mean, it's a totally different Olympic Games for her. The expectations that, again, these expectations, these athletes put on themselves, let's be honest. Every athlete goes in, they might not want to admit it, but, like, there are in the back of their head these expectations, and it's a little added pressure, but that sometimes is a good thing. I
Yeah.
think you should always walk into a competition with just a little bit of pressure because you wanna do well,
Yeah.
and I think Suni winning the bronze, it wasn't a moment of, "Oh, I won the bronze."
No.
It was a moment of, "Are you kidding me? I won." Like, just
Yes, I won a bronze medal. I won.
yes.
Forget like,
Yes.
I won the moment.
Right.
I won
Exactly.
what I went out to do, and I even think it looked for a split second she considered connecting out of the Bharadwaj. I
I thought that
thought
too.
I I mean, I go, "Oh, it's there, it's there." It would have been so risky
Oh, yeah.
to try because it was just not quite, but she was in position, I thought, you know, and if she had done it enough times in her training as she does,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
with the other connection, because that one is just so at the end of routine, that one's just so
It's so second nature.
second nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one was she would have had to split second commit. But I looked over and saw Jess the way he stayed there, because he would have moved, I think. I think he thought, oh, she may. In some ways, I was like, no, okay, it's okay. It's okay. But had she connected, then it would be like, whoa, we're off to
Oh,
the
yeah.
races.
That would have been wild.
Yeah. But I was thrilled. I was thrilled. It was a beautiful moment. So,
Well, let's see, what events
vault.
do we have left? Oh, yeah, vault for the men. Oh,
Vault.
another one of Kathy's favorites.
I love it. I do. I mean, put your seatbelts on. It's like
Oh,
I men's men's vault. I can at least now because there was a period of time where I had to watch men's vault like this.
I
Like,
still do that sometimes.
do you?
Sorry.
I
I it's more my own, like, I watch and my knees sometimes I'm like, "Oh,
yeah.
oh, my knees hurt for you." I and they bounce, these guys are bouncing up, they are having no issues, but me watching and my poor brittle bones and my weak ankles that I'm just like, "Oh, oh." But I will say they have way more control
Oh,
now than what they used to.
wait.
End
I
of story. Yeah.
It used to be like for me. I go, okay, you're not sure you can make this vault, and you're throwing it anyways.
Yeah,
And that's scary for all of us.
for
That's the
sure.
way I felt before. Now I look at them, I was like, no, they are fully capable
Yeah.
of doing this vault. It's still really hard though. It's still really risky, the vaults that they were doing. But
Yeah.
I was hoping Jake Jarman could stick like he did at World Championships, because that was one of the most exciting moments of those World Championships, was seeing Jake Jarman just drill both of his vaults. He couldn't quite
Yeah.
get the landing, but his teammate did. Harry, what that was awesome. Where's my? I'm looking at the scores. Um, that was super cool. That he actually Harry Hepworth, um, beautiful gymnast, by the way, and young. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for their future for Team GB. But he ended up with a bronze medal, just edging Jake Jarman out
Yeah.
medals. Um, and
All love.
Davtyan, Archer Davtyan, Armenia, got the silver. So that was really exciting. So, and
But who
unfortunately,
got the gold?
oh, let's see. Was it? Who was it? Yay, Philippines. I don't know what
We are
Carlos
your biggest fan.
We are your, yeah. So when I mean, he was just on a roll. His event finals, it was like finally, whatever weird juju came in with him. The I don't know, just something always happened in
Yeah.
his finals, and like you're just thinking,
Yeah.
this is it, and then he'd have
And
some
then
weird
something, yeah.
landing, or something would happen. Everything lined up perfectly. You could see it in his face, like he just finally everything came together.
Yeah.
But there was a calm confidence that I saw before he went on both of these events, but especially after winning floor and then coming back, I think it just boosted his confidence
I
going
would
into
agree.
vault. And at the same time that his confidence was boosted, I think there was a release of pressure too in
Yeah.
having a gold medal already. I
I
mean,
was just about to say that. He already has the gold. It's like, what do I have to
yes,
lose? I've
yes,
already won.
yes.
So I'm on this high. I might as well ride the wave.
Yeah, because you could go either way. You could go, oh my gosh, you could get too excited because you have a chance for a second gold. And if you
Right.
focus like that, or you can go, but I have nothing to lose, go all out. And I think he was somewhere right in between those two.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like, and
I I would agree to
that's
that.
perfect. Then you've got the balance. You've got the balance of the focus you're bringing, the energy you're bringing.
Yeah.
And it just all lined up perfectly. So, can you believe that Carlos Yulo, double Olympic gold
True.
medalist? Yeah.
I love it. That's why I love the that's not why I love the Olympics, but that is one reason why. But moving on, I do so the final women's events that we need to cover are balance beam and floor. What I would like to do, because there was a lot of
That last day, something.
yes, the last day was a little bit much,
Okay.
but for the men, we have parallel bars and high bar,
Mhm.
P bars and a high bar.
Yeah.
So let's do the men first, and then we'll end with the women.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That it's the middle of the sandwich that was a little weird because
Yep.
we had parallel bars.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we had beam, but parallel bars. This is okay. If somebody said you have to pick your favorite routine at the Olympics for the man or the favorite athlete gymnast
Yeah.
routine, it would be Judging Yuan on P bars. I have never seen a more magnificent parallel bar routine in my life. Like the combination of exquisite
Yeah.
form and precision, straight body handstand, toes to the ceiling, pointed, no angle, no
Yeah.
arch. Like that's
Perfection.
perfection.
Yeah.
Combine that with swing that is unbelievable through the bottom. I'm like, he has to have an iron grip because I don't know how
Oh,
you
yeah.
hold on to parallel bars. No grips on their hands, swinging that aggressively, and then fine. He made a Baharsar look like they.
Like it was a walk in the park. I mean, it was just like,
There's
doop.
a photo of him that reminded me of Suni on bars in the Navieva, just that perfect tight arch position, gorgeous hands, fingers. He does that flying over the parallel bars, legs straddled around like I it's like a high note in the opera. It was and the aria, the
Yeah.
solo, you know,
Yeah.
it was a masterpiece.
Oh,
And for
yeah.
him to hit so perfectly, I think there was
Mm.
one handstand that was ever so slightly shy. Like he still finessed it. But other
Right.
than that, I'm going, put your pencils
There
down.
was nothing. Yeah.
Judge. Like, put your pencils down. That was just the most gorgeous routine I've ever seen. So that was one of the highlights of the entire Olympic Games for me, seeing him hit and then seeing Ilya Kovtun get the silver finally. Yes,
Incredible.
I wanted him to have a medal. I mean, he deserved to
Yeah.
walk away with a medal. And he's so cute. Let's just face it. He is so that face, that sweet, and he's so tall and he just stands out like
Kathy.
famous. No, 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 not like that.
I didn't mean
I'm
it
not a
like that.
creepy old woman. No,
No.
he's just
He
he's got the sweetest face
well,
and,
I'm sure he's a very nice man.
yeah, that you just want, like, I wanted the most for. But parallel bars, I just loved every single athlete in the finals, like
Yeah,
all of these routines. So, but my favorite one, so all's right in the world when that happens. When the best, not just my favorite, the
right.
best, when the best in the world by far, because for me, he was unbeatable. He could only beat himself.
Yeah,
And
I would agree.
that wasn't going to happen. So, oh, Beam. So um, I think at one point during Beam, I was like, okay, would somebody in the arena, because I'm not there, I'm home, because you've got Beam and between Beam and High Bar, I said, would somebody go find the little gremlin that's
I know that's running
around,
around.
running around the arena, creating chaos and mayhem, and please escort him out of the arena. Whatever it is, because
Whatever.
and I think I know where that little gremlin came from. It just occurred to me.
Oh, where?
When Suni foot hit the beam and bounced off the beam. That was the
Yeah,
weirdest. Like,
that was odd.
it was odd. I mean, part of it, we talked about it when we talked about the way she does her side aerial layout now. And more, she undercuts a little bit, like it's almost
Yeah,
in place. And when that happens, sometimes you can't get enough weight on both feet when
right.
you land. And when there's not enough weight on both feet, it's hard to press down into the beam and stay on. So even though she was perfectly straight, it came down and she couldn't firmly put it down and
Right.
wait. And it was slightly, I think she brought it down a little too soon, actually, the second leg.
Yeah, I would
You know,
agree.
so then only the heel went on. And then the most beautiful belly flop I've ever seen on the floor.
You wanna
Only
talk about a
seen
graceful fall.
that was like anybody who can make splitting the beam, bouncing off the beam, and landing on your belly with your toes pointed, lifted up and back. Like that was a beautiful little pose, actually. So, but here's where the gremlin came. I think she knocked it out of the beam. I think it was hiding inside the
Oh.
beam. And when she hit that, it just let that gremlin out because the rest of beam finals, I was like, oh,
There was a gremlin on the
there
loose.
was a gremlin on the loose in the arena. And it was mayhem. I I mean, who would have expected Simone's fall on me? That is when you
Yeah,
just don't expect because she's been so on, and
yeah,
she's just like on bars. She works being very quick,
yeah.
very very quick. Before I go on to that, how great that Suni kept her like
Composure.
kept her composure, was able to laugh
Yeah.
even while she was still there in the arena and then win the TikTok challenge of
I mean, sometimes, to be honest, Kathy, sometimes all you can do is laugh.
yes.
That's all like, that's all you can do, but I do agree, there was something in the air during beam and
Yeah.
high bar
I think it
finals.
finally just hit him.
Something
So let's talk about this. Qualifying,
yeah,
team finals,
team
all the
finals.
energy expenditure, not just physical energy expenditure, but the emotional,
Mm.
the
I mean, it's a roller coaster of being up so high, and then you're coming down, and then you're up, and you're down, and that's exhausting. I mean, at the end of that is exhausting.
and think of the high that both Simone, Suni, Rebecca, I
Yeah,
mean, these they achieved their goal, their primary goal. Brazil got a team medal. Oh my God.
yeah,
And then US got the gold again. So all of that is a high that is hard to explain to people.
yeah,
That when because usually after high you have kind of a postpartum, you come down.
yeah,
Well, there's no time for that
right,
because Suni and Simone and Rebecca, they're coming back to all around finals.
right.
And this was another one of all three of them actually
Yeah,
their personal goal. Yes, they're still representing the US and they are trying to win a medal for the US, but they all had personal goals,
right.
personal um, need to accomplish something for
Yeah,
the for the feeling that they needed to feel fulfilled, to feel contentment, to feel
Right.
like, I don't want to say finished because they weren't finished quite yet,
Right.
but they needed that. So now you're
Yeah.
coming down, you've got all these event finals.
Yeah.
And this last day of event finals happened earlier in the day than the other days. So now you've upped it a few hours. So I could see some fatigue.
Oh, yeah. I
These are
can't imagine how tired they are.
they're so fit and so conditioned, but still when you add the emotional and the mental energy that went into doing what they accomplished in
Right.
team and all around, and then Suni on bars coming back from that,
Right.
and Simone winning gold on like another high that then you just have to manage,
Yeah.
and it's on beam,
Yeah.
you know, your last day, and Simone still had floor. So
Right.
let's also talk about, so Simone got a weird deduction, 3/10 on beam for not saluting properly.
Oh my
She kind of
gosh.
did, like, I went back to look, I was like, really? Like, I mean, yes, it was
So,
quick. It was quick. It was because she was already going, really? Like,
yeah.
really? I just felt,
Yeah.
it was a human thing.
Right.
So it was a human thing. So for me, I, that was kind of a ridiculous, I have to
A
say,
little silly.
deduction.
A little
Also,
silly.
3/10 of a point. I mean,
That
that's
seems a
huge.
little excessive. For
Yes.
one, that seems a little
Yes.
excessive.
And then what people in the Reno and people watching on television didn't realize, when, especially on beam, when there were issues where they didn't connect, so they didn't get
Yeah.
those tenths of a point. So then
Right.
the score was lower because people say, "Well, she hit. Why didn't she medal?"
Yeah.
But it was so exciting to see Joe on beam finally. I mean, she didn't do her perfect routine,
Yeah.
but can we talk about that routine? Because we need to.
I mean, it was beautiful still.
Like, Zhou Jingwen, she is the steadiest beam worker.
Yeah.
Like, when she lands, when she's on, there's no movement.
Yeah.
None. There, and besides that, not just core strength, her feet, the strength in her feet and her ankles.
Mhm.
This is just basic training. So for a beam nerd like I am, like, when I can stare at a gymnast's feet, their entire routine, go, oh my God, that's so wonderful. She is just so strong. Um, I wanted her to hit that
I
side
know.
stomach to the, you know, tuck full. And she was so close, so close. I don't think people realize how hard, well, gymnasts do, but your
How
average,
hard that is?
oh my God. And you're turning both directions
Yeah,
because
no,
she
thank
goes
you.
one way and then the other way, like, really, really good. So happy that she ended up with a medal and
Yeah.
provided one of the sweetest moments of the Olympic Games
Oh, I
on the
know.
podium. I
I
love that.
know.
I love that when they were up there, and we're going to get to them because what started out as just seeming disaster, mayhem, chaos, everybody was mourning beam. I was like, Italy, way to go.
Oh, yeah.
D'Amato, Manila, Esposito. Oh my God, they handled it because they weren't
Yeah.
perfect. They weren't perfect, but you know what they did? That door opened, and they're like, "Yep, I am."
Oh, they kicked it open. It
Yes.
it opened a little bit, and they said,
Oh yeah.
"Excuse me?"
Because as
Yeah.
Alicia said, she goes, "This is like," she doesn't love beam, doesn't really
Yeah,
like
well,
beam. She even asked a coach, "Why am I still doing beam? Like, why?"
eh,
I mean,
heard that.
here's why: you are now Olympic champion
Yeah, I
on
don't think she
beam.
gets to say that again.
No, I think, and it was such a thrill. They showed a really neat photo with the coach, because this is their first medals on beam. They won, you know,
2.
two two medals on beam after winning a team medal. I mean, so very excited for this
Yeah.
team. Very excited for Alicia because she had a phenomenal Olympic Games, and to be able to be Olympic champion now on balance beam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, even though there was heartbreak, it was really exciting too.
Well, and I mean, Team Italy, this entire Olympic Games for
Mhm.
gymnastics, especially the women, have just, it's been a fairy tale.
Yeah.
I mean, it truly has been a fairy tale, and going to Beam and seeing what I think a lot of people knew they were capable of, but you're right. I mean, you're tired. There's a lot of highs, like we said, your emotions are super high, then you have to come down, and then you have to work at, and I mean, it really is a roller
And there's
coaster of
no way it's
emotions.
not in their head. Everybody's falling. Like when
Right.
everybody's
Oh,
falling on
absolutely.
Zoom, that is the hardest event when you start seeing people like
Yeah.
it can become crisis in
Yeah.
your mind. It's like, oh my God, oh my God. And I mean, I
Right.
jokingly said at one point, okay, whose job was it to level the beam? They're fired. Like, there
You're
is
done.
something, you're done. There is something, go measure that beam, go
Yeah.
measure, like, because something is going on with balance beam. But it was neat. I like Manila's gymnastics too. I like both of their gymnastics. Her
Yeah.
flexibility and toe point on both
Yeah.
beam and floor. I'm sorry she missed her floor pass twice, both in team finals and in event finals, because they both made
Yeah.
floor finals as well. And
Right.
so they still had floor finals coming up after this beam.
Right.
Simone did, like, they all had to regroup and get ready
Quickly.
quickly
Yeah.
because they have one event,
One event left.
one event, but they had to live through men's high bar. And the gremlin was
Well,
still, I'm sorry.
still on the loose.
Yeah,
He was
the
they were
gremlin
still
went
on the
from
loose.
beam over to the bars, and it was like this devilish little monkey just making a mess out of everything. I don't know what this little gremlin was doing,
Causing chaos.
causing chaos because there were
Yeah.
so many misses on high bar. I was like, what? Beam and high bar had to have gotten together
Yeah.
and decided.
Had a little powwow. They're like, "Listen, no one stays on today."
No, I know. Well, that that's gymnastics. That's life.
It is. It
It,
is.
it does.
High bar was definitely messy. And
Yeah.
I don't want to skip over high bar, but
Yeah.
we do need to talk about
Yep.
women's floor finals. Oh, I kind of I'm
One quick shout out.
oh,
Angel Barajas of Colombia won the silver
oh yes.
medal on high bar, first for Colombia ever.
Never.
So, yes. Yeah.
That is true. We are
And
not here to
Zongulhan,
discredit anybody.
no,
Give credit where
Jeff
credit is due.
Franz and Shanoska. Oh my gosh, the gold. What an Olympics he had.
I know.
Gold in the all
Hey,
around, gold on high bar. Holy moly.
you do you.
Yep, exactly. So,
I
floor.
love it. So over to floor. Um, there were, I guess, I don't want to take away from anything that you are going to add, but there was a lot of drama. And I think Kathy, you are wise in all things, but especially in gymnastics. You have an eye for knowing whether something is right. And the way you see gymnastics, especially to the average viewer, is different. But floor finals, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, well, first, who won?
Okay.
Obviously,
Yes. Yeah. Because let's talk about all the. I mean,
there
the
was so
moments
much.
for both. Yes,
Yeah.
there was so much. But first and foremost, like Jordan and Simone bowing down to Rebecca Andrade, that is what I'm doing right now
Yes.
because that moment for her, yes, was the door opened a little bit for her when Simone, because Simone
Yeah.
is the most powerful gymnast on the planet that has ever lived.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ever. I have never seen more power, more bounce. When you have to try to rein in and don't run so hard when you do a triple double, try to
Yeah.
keep it in bounds to try to not bounce out. So nailed that one. Um, or went out of bounds on that one. Nailed the biles. Like that
Oh,
was,
perfect. Yeah.
yes. But bounced out 2 times, so 3/10 of a point each
Both feet,
time.
though.
Both feet, both feet. So
Yep.
when you go out with both feet, it's 3/10 of a point both times, and as much padding as she has with her difficulty, when you have Rebecca Andrade, who is the gymnast who has pushed her the most, the
Yeah.
hardest throughout, especially this last quad. So exciting to see Rebecca when she got that opening. And that's not the only reason. Like, she won the gold medal.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Absolutely won the gold medal, lit the arena up. I don't think
Yeah.
there was one person in that arena that wasn't thrilled beyond words. That
Yeah.
he deserved that fairy tale ending. Um, Again, 3 ACL tears,
Yeah.
3 comebacks from an ACL, and did that level of difficulty and won a gold medal after winning a silver medal in the all around. One gold on floor.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, put the crown on. And
Exactly.
cape and a crown, both of them.
All of it. She
Dance
gets it all.
and dance
Yeah.
out of the door. And it was cool seeing Simone so excited for her. Of course, Simone
For sure.
wanted to hit her floor routine. Of course, she
Yeah.
would like to have won the gold medal. But when you can win a silver medal, bouncing out of bounds twice, you are
That's pretty good. It's
that
pretty good. Yeah.
is pretty darn good. So then we've got the setup. Um, Romania. We've talked
Yes.
about this from the beginning. To see Romania back in the Olympic Games after over a decade out,
Yeah.
so wonderful. And this is a phenomenal team. To get them qualified and then to see them have such a fantastic qualifying, get into the team finals, like they are having an extraordinary Olympic game.
Right.
And now you've got two in the final event, in the finals. So exciting to see. And beautiful floor routines. I love
Yeah.
watching them on floor. Both Sabrina and Anna are so good on this event, and they competed so well, one, to get into the finals. Okay.
Right.
So Sabrina goes up, does a beautiful floor routine,
Right.
and then has a 10th of a point deduction for an out of bounds,
Yeah.
which was not out of bounds.
Right.
And it was clear. It was clear from every single angle. They showed it on television. Everybody saw it. So
Yeah.
I assumed in that moment, I was like, that's going to get adjusted. That's going to get
Right.
adjusted. And
Something will happen, right? You're like,
something
something
will
will
happen.
happen because
I
this.
didn't, yeah, because I knew it
Right.
wasn't out of bounds. Something they'll fix that because that's fixable. And in the rules, just so everybody knows, because I've got
Kathy's got the
from
rules.
from Paris 2024, because you gotta know these things, and because I know that this is when my brain, when I'm watching this meet, even though I'm retired and I'm not working, been a broadcaster for over 40 years. I was a gymnast. And so I know all what's going on in terms of the things we have to be aware of, the inquiries,
Right.
because inquiries are part of gymnastics. Okay.
Right.
Of course, we all know you can only inquire about the D score. And usually that is if somehow the judges missed that there was a connection, or they downgraded something
Right.
that you can show proof of, or you're sure, oh no, this should have counted. So keep that in mind. But you have
Right.
to place an inquiry, and it has to happen quickly, very, very quickly, within a minute, actually. Out of bounds, though, when I read this rule, just keep this in, it says coaches, and it's not part of the section with score inquiries. It is revision of time and line deductions. Coaches have the right to ask the superior jury, and just so everybody knows, the superior jury, they're judges. They're judging all the routines in the event there's an inquiry.
Right.
If the judging panel can't agree, like if they're given the evidence or they're shown to review something like, oh, we made a mistake or we overlooked that, whatever, they can make the adjustment to the score. They can also go down on the score. That's the risk
Right.
of an inquiry. So, but the superior jury then can make the final decision, and it can't be changed. Their decision
Right.
is final
Is final. Right.
with the inquiry. But the out of bounds, that I need a clarification from FIG, and this is what we're going to get. At some point, they're going to have to. FIG will have
Yeah.
to come out with a statement. We will have to know, because that wasn't corrected for
Right.
some reason. For some reason, that
Yeah.
out of bounds deduction stayed, even though we saw with our own eyes that it wasn't out of bounds. Ana Barbosa then goes up, and that was Sabrina's routine, which was
Right.
lovely, by the way. Great difficulty in the dance, lovely artistry and presentation. Ana Barbosa goes up and does a great routine.
Mm-hmm.
We know her score. Okay. So she's sitting in third behind Rebecca Andrade and Simone Biles.
Right.
And she's now in third because her teammate has the 10th of a point out of bounds deduction. So she's
Right.
below her. And last up is Jordan Childs. And
Yes.
all of us who adore and love Jordan Childs are hoping we're going to see the routine of her life, which she
Right.
won. Oh my gosh, in team finals was like phenomenal. And Jordan does a great routine. She's going last up. So it's like this
Right.
perfect scenario. It's a perfect setup. I will tell you this as a broadcaster, because you've heard me say this, Bridget, in meetings, when we covered NCAAs, I was like, we have to stay aware of inquiries. If
Right.
an inquiry is filed, we need to be aware of it, because it won't happen until the end of the rotation.
Right.
Well, the last person is gone, that we'll find out, whether that inquiry, because the judges are judging.
Right.
Okay. So
So it's not till the end that you find out if the inquiry
yeah, well, the
is
superior like if they've
right.
taken over, they may say, "Oh, yes, they raised the score." That's why we hear there's
Right.
adjustment. So, um, but Jordan going last does her routine, great routine, not quite the routine she did in all around finals. She had a
Right.
couple landings that were a little. There were landing deductions on the first pass.
Yeah.
There were landing deductions on the last pass. She was a little bit short on that one. But in all of the previous competitions, the qualifying and team finals, on her Gojun or her Turjite full split 1.5, whatever you
Yeah.
call that skill, she didn't get credit for previously. When the score came up, Cecile Landy, the coach, immediately, which you have to do, you have a minute. Okay.
Right.
1 minute. You have to do a verbal inquiry, and then follow up in less than 4 minutes. Has to be under 4 minutes, a written one, and it goes in. But she's gone up last.
Right.
So the dynamics here in this moment were hard. They were hard on everybody,
Yeah.
including our friends doing television. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're at the last meet, you've got what you think is gold, silver, bronze.
Right.
If you're notified there's an inquiry, then you know that. So you're saying, okay, so we may be telling everybody, but in the arena, it looks like Ana Barbosa has the bronze medal.
Yeah.
So she's jumped up on the podium, excited with the, and everybody can
Right.
see, well, but the score isn't final. There's an inquiry. We're waiting to find out, and we're still waiting. And then all of a sudden the score goes up, but Anna's up on the podium with the flag, celebrating. Jordan, Simone, Cecile all look up. Beautiful shot. We're all looking at them, look up at the score, and all of a sudden the score changes. And keep in mind, I've had a score changed. I know what this feels
Yeah.
like. I've had this happen, but mine was in a weird situation. We don't need to talk about that. But anyways, and it was at a world championships. This was the Olympic Games. Okay.
Right.
And all of a sudden, because they give back that 10th of a point, okay, because they had downgraded it, now she got credit for the D, so it's an extra 10th of a point that added
Right.
to the D score. Now her score has gone above Anna's.
Yeah.
And the juxtaposition, this was what was painful in that moment, was the celebration, the jubilation of Jordan and Cecile. And she breaks down and she runs past, but you can see in the same shot, Ana Barbosa up on the screen, and then she's seen the same thing, drops
Oh,
the flag. Our hearts just drop,
drop. Yeah.
shatter, they drop. You're thrilled on the one side. It's soaring for Jordan that
Right.
seemingly the judges have taken the inquiry um, and decided they were correct. They awarded the extra difficulty, got credit for that skill, and raised her score. So now she's the bronze medalist. But
Yes.
here's the thing, and this is the hard thing, because if people don't know the inquiry process, the
Right.
timing of it, and that everything was done, I don't know if there was an inquiry filed for the out of bounds for Sabrina.
Right.
But I also don't know that it had to be an inquiry, a formal inquiry, because when I look at the in writing, and again, maybe there's something that we don't know. This is why the FIG must, and now I believe they must come out with some statement, some decision, because
Yeah.
Romania has filed a formal complaint, um, because they're protecting their athlete, and they
Right.
are just as we would with our
With ours.
athlete.
Exactly.
And I think that the message I was trying to send to everybody, the Gymtranet, the Gymtranet, was please, please, please don't forget our humanity here,
Yeah.
and most important, that Jordan, Anna, Sabrina, they they don't judge themselves.
Right.
They don't know the inquiries. They didn't file it. Like,
Right.
all they did was their best. They put
Yeah.
their heart into this routine, and now their heart is on display. And one is soaring and
Yeah.
one is broken. And the
Ugh.
other is not even known. So as I
Yeah.
said, in that moment, I look back and I go, wait, there wasn't a, like, I figured that would be resolved,
Right.
in the correct way, which of course the correct way, if you look at all the angles that we saw, and this is another thing everybody needs to know. The line judges aren't on the floor anymore like they used to. So,
Yeah.
you know how we're used to seeing a line judge there with a yellow flag, they're
Right.
watching on screen. So like, imagine our
Yeah.
monitors, Bridget, when we're calling a meet. Well,
Right.
and that can be a really good thing, because if you're only, and that's all they're looking at. They're
Right.
looking at the lines, the corners, to make sure that that's what they're focused on. And this is the thing we have to talk about, because everybody, they want to blame somebody.
Yeah.
They want it to be somebody's, whether it's the judge. The judges didn't get it right in the first place, so the judges are wrong, um, or the process is faulty. Like, was the inquiry not filed on time? Should we look at that? Or should you even file an inquiry when it's that close? Well,
Yeah.
yes, all of this is part of the normal. I think that the challenging part now is the superior jury, which is made up of the women's technical committee members that sit there,
Right.
and they almost they almost become God, or
Well,
like the final decision. And that's a hard one to make, because, and this is what we've created. So the D score, some things are very, very objective
yeah.
in judging. Some things are. There are measures and tools that are very objective. And
Right.
most of the time is, did you do the skill? Did you not? Do you get
Right.
credit for it?
Yeah.
Did you make the connection? Or was that the skill that, yes, it was. So most of that's pretty straightforward. In the dance, in the dance elements, these turning leaps and jumps are probably the most difficult piece of gymnastics to
Right.
judge in the moment. But this is why, this is the good thing about having a D panel and an E panel, because the D panel is only looking for completion of the skill,
Right.
execution of the skill,
Right.
to give credit or not give credit. So they are watching very, very closely, because it used to be they had to do it all at the same time. And then you would often miss, well, who
Yeah.
cares if they got all the way around? If the rest of the, like, it wasn't fully split, the shoulders were up, the posture,
Right.
shape wasn't right. Like, so the E panel is looking for all of that. And you want that, that's the good. That's the good part,
Yeah.
that you have those two panels looking for two very different things. But you have to be able to let both of the expert panels do their jobs, because that's all they're doing. But in an inquiry, then you've got the superior jury,
Right.
and then you've got
Coming into
video
play.
review. And that's when you say, okay, in real time, it may look one way. When you only
Right.
take one look at it in real time from wherever an individual judge is sitting, may see it one way. Because remember, they're sitting in a different place.
Right.
Judges are in different places with different angles, different views of the same skill. But now when you add a video review where you can look back and another jury, like a superior jury, looking, and they can overrule
Yeah.
and make that decision, that's when people go, that's when
Yeah.
our sport looks to the outside world. Oh, that can't be a
Yeah.
real sport. Like, why? Like, you got to get it right. Well, they are, I stress, they are trying to get it right.
Right.
But the way this timed out, and it was unfortunate. It was the final routine of the most amazing Olympic Games,
Yeah.
and a storybook finish, fairy tale finish for Jordan Childs. When in that moment, all you want to be is happy
Yeah.
for someone whose dream has come true. They've won their bronze medal, and then set up one of the most glorious moments of the Olympic Games when Rebecca Andrade is presented with the gold medal, and Simone and Jordan, in the ultimate act of great sportsmanship and
Oh, yeah.
womanhood and
Yes.
everything in that moment, to plan just to bow down to her, and then they grasp hands together. Yeah, that's the beauty of our sport. That is the
Yeah.
beauty of sportsmanship, and it was an all black podium, which was historic too. So like all this good things with just this little, it's that damn gremlin again. I'm telling you, somebody needed
Yeah.
to escort this little gremlin out of the arena because it kind of created some mayhem, some chaos. And then in that last moment, it was hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Kathy, these Olympic Games there were a lot of highs and there were a lot of lows. But with every episode, you end by giving a piece of advice. But I think for this finale, I think give why don't you give a piece of advice for the athletes that competed at these Olympic Games? For, what would you tell them to take away from these Olympics?
Most of these athletes, and I do love that they chose Golden Girls. Okay. Can I finish
Yeah.
that? Because remember, I wanted them to be the Phoenix Five, but I like Golden Girls, especially because I know the show and they are the oldest, which thank you for making me feel young again. Since I was almost 25 at the Olympics, now I'm like, okay, see, I wasn't that old. But what they showed the world and showed themselves is that it is true. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And when they look back at their journey that brought them to this destination, to this moment that was such a gift to each of them personally, to each of them collectively together as a team. They are sisters now for the rest of their life. They are
Yeah.
brothers for the rest of their lives. But it's the steps in the journey that will stay with them forever. Because that's what has built their character. It's made them who they are and made this moment that much more special.
That wraps up season 2 of Flipping Out with Bridget Sloan, the Olympic special. I want to give a huge thank you to all the listeners, all those who like and subscribed. It means so much to me and my team. And I want everyone to get excited because season 3 will be here before we know it. I know we're excited. And as always, let's have a great day. Let's make some good life choices out there. And don't forget to be awesome. Bye, guys.